I'm going to welcome Heather. Give another warm welcome to Heather and Richard as they lead us into song.
Thank you. So we have some various carols we'll sing together today, and we're going to start with the beautiful O Come, Emmanuel. And I apologize, if there's not a hymnal close to you, but try to find one. I try to put one on every other chair. And it's number 260. 260. I was just reading over the words of this for the first time in a while, and there's such beautiful words. It's such a beautiful prayer. So it's 260, and would you like to stand while we sing this? Oh come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lonely exile here, until the Son of God appear. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Oh, come, thou wisdom from on high, and order all things far and nigh. To us a path of knowledge show, and cause us in her ways to go. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Oh, come, desire of nations find, all peoples in one heart and mind. If in these strife and quarrel cease, fill the world with heaven's peace. Rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel.
Thank you for that beautiful singing. You may be seated. I love that Christmas carol, don't you? It speaks to the combination, I think, of winter solstice and Christmas. That there's this longing, and even almost a feeling of sorrow and need that gets woven in with joy and celebration and fulfillment. People all over this planet spent last night in winter solstice rituals, feeling into the darkness and what's being left behind. We gather in this place to celebrate many traditions wrapped up into one. We're so thankful that we're living in a time when we have access to traditions from all over the world, and we can relate to them through our ancestry and in our own experience. So today we recognize that since the beginning of human time, humans have gathered in this season to celebrate the rebirth of the sun. On this winter solstice, the darkest of nights, the goddess becomes the great mother, and once again gives birth to the sun and the new yearly cycle. That's how people for thousands of years thought about it. The mother goddess bringing new light and hope to all the earth on the longest night of the winter, and in the dark night of our souls. There always springs a new spark of hope, the sacred fire, the light of the world. On this night, many of us have Celtic ancestors, and it's said that the maiden, who was also the mother and the crone, prepares herself to welcome the Sun King. We gather here now to prepare ourselves to welcome the new light within us. Speaking of the new light that's in our midst, we have some wonderful children, and we have a wonderful children's program. Francie and Patrice and Bill sometimes, and others of you lead this little band of kids that we have here into some deep explorations of their soul. And I love it because just as we adults want the freedom to explore who we really are, our mystery school children's program gives the kids an opportunity to really know their own spirituality from the time they're really little and have that affirmed. So please spread the word that we have an amazing, different, and wonderful children's program. And we'd like our children to come up now, and we bless them as they go out to their Sunday program. Raise the mic a little bit, Alan. We had a wonderful Christmas party the other night for Unity People, and one of you told the story of on the Christmas tree of her childhood, or one time in her life, Nancy, that she came out and her friends and family had lit real candles all over the Christmas tree. And if you think about it, it wasn't too long ago that was all that we had, because there wasn't electricity. And so people have really used candles for much, much longer than we've had these beautiful electric lights on Christmas. But I remember one Christmas myself where my family, my parents, they always would put up the Christmas tree and put all the presents out in the middle of the night. So that was a lot of work. They cared enough about us children to want it to be a complete surprise. So we'd go to sleep at night and nothing would be there, and then we'd wake up in the morning and the whole Christmas tree would be there with all of the lights decorated and all the presents. It was amazing. And we thought Santa Claus had a lot of work to do in the night. And he did. But one time, you know what happened to our Christmas tree? Well, we got it all up, all the decorations on and everything when I was an adult, and I was doing it, and the whole tree went boom. And all the decorations flew all over the place. What do you think we did? Cleaned it up. We cleaned it up. Everybody pitched in and helped the kids and the adults. And it was too tipsy. We didn't have it stable enough. Is it a pot like that? Yeah, you have to be sure it's really secure. But we picked it all up and we put it all back up again. And sometimes that's what we have to do in life, because sometimes things don't always go just the way we think they're going to. But you know what? We can all chip in and we can make it right again and make it a happy time no matter what. And so we appreciate you kids being with us, and we hope. No matter, no. Say no worries, no worries. Just put it up again. So, the song that we're going to sing to you all as you go out today is a song really appropriate for this time, because it's about the light. We talk about how you have the Christ light shining in you and how much we appreciate you being here. And so we're going to sing a song to you, This Little Light of Mine. And it's a song the big people like to sing too. So let's sing This Little Light of Mine as the kids get ready to, yeah, their Sunday school. Little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. My brothers and my sisters, my brothers and my sisters, I'm gonna help them shine. I'm gonna help them shine. My brothers and my sisters, I'm gonna help them shine. My brothers and my sisters, oh, I'm gonna help them shine. Let them shine, let them shine, let them shine. One more time, little light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Yes, take a deep breath and settle in. And I'd like you to help me create our sacred space this morning. Roy's saying that there's a bit of an overflow situation happening, which we love. So he's asking if people can raise your hands if you have an empty chair by you in the room here. So there's quite a few empty chairs up here, so come on up, everybody.
Come on up.
There's 4, 5, 6 over here. 2 up here. Come on up. Let's stand together and create our sacred space in this room together by calling out to the 4 directions. So this beautiful Kabbalistic image that we have to look at in front is the direction of the east. And so we welcome you, Spirit of the East, Spirit of air, of morning, of new birth. Be with us as the sun rises in times of beginning, times of planting. Inspire us with the fresh breath of courage as we go forth into new adventures. And we can all say together, come and be with us, Spirit of the East. Come and be with us, Spirit of the East. Aho. Aho. And now let's turn toward the south in this direction. In the south, we welcome the spirit of fire, of noontime and summer. We ask you to be with us through the heat of the day and help us to be ever-growing, Spirit of the South. Warm us with strength and energy for the work that awaits us. And we say together, come, be with us now. Let's say it. Come, be with us now, Spirit of the South. Aho. Thank you, South. And now we turn to the west. In the west, we welcome the spirit of water in the depths, the evening time and autumn, the sunsets of our lives. Help us, Spirit of the West, to enjoy the time of harvest. Flow through us with cooling, healing quietness, and bring us peace in this winter season. We say, come and be with us now. Come and be with us now. Spirit of the West. Aho. Let's turn to the north. In the north, we imagine the great mountains with the snow cap. We address the spirit of earth, of nighttime and winter. Be with us in the darkness, in the time of gestation. Ground us in the wisdom of the changing seasons as we celebrate the spiraling journey of our lives. And we say together, come, be with us now, Spirit of the North. Aho. And now turn again toward the front and place your hands on your heart, and we welcome you, the spirit of life that's within you, the love that you've brought here to share today. Nothing that we do here would be able to be done or exciting without you here. So we're so thankful to have your loving, warm heart energy, the hearth fire, the center of your soul where the fire sits. We welcome that fire, and we hope that it gets more ignited today and that you are warmed by everything that takes place here. Thank you for being here. And turn to one another now and give a handshake or a smile and say, thank you for coming, for being with candles that are lit on the altar. We've lit these fires in honor of the Mother Goddess and to the Sun, S-U-N and S-O-N, of light. Mother, you create life from death, warmth from cold. Now the sun lives once again. The time of light is on the rise. We invite you, Great Mother, to our circle here. Bring us new light, the light of your glorious Son. When we sing, O come, Emmanuel, we're singing the song of the ages, not just of Christianity, not just of the Messiah of Judaism, but the longing of the heart of peoples on this planet for as long as there have been humans, calling out for the rebirth of the light. I've asked 3 women to come and light the 3 tall candles, the maiden, the mother, and the crone.
I come to you as the maiden, young and free, fresh as springtime, yet within me a yearning stirs to create and share. So I become.
As a mother, I bring forth the fruit of my creativity. Yet an ancient prophet once told me as I stood with my son, a sword shall pierce through thine own heart also. And I knew that I must become.
As crone, I have earned the title Wise One and Lady of Darkness. We 3 in one brought forth that special child so long ago and birthed him anew each solstice night. We also anointed him for burial, a bright light that grew and was sacrificed to be reborn as a greater light. And so we all must become.
In the old Yule style, we toast the new light. We toast the new year dawning. And we say, O Lord of light, return out of the shadows. The wheel has turned. And we, the people, call you back now to warm us. You who have died are now reborn. Divine spark from sacred dark, symbol of our holy intent. Illuminate this hour. Lend us your light through the winter months as we await the spring. Great King of the sun, we welcome your return. May you shine brightly upon the earth so that we may all become. Thank you, Mother Maiden and Crone. You know, in the midst of these very dark nights, haven't they been quite dark lately? Yes. We do rejoice that today, once again, the longer days are coming. And yet, we're not, very much into the light yet. So at this cusp time, this hinge of the year, as it's called, the darkness still has some gifts to bring us, some lessons, some blessings. The darkness helps us to become our whole selves, doesn't it? So we ask that while we're here today, that the universal mystery guide us away from the desire to just turn on the lights and shine the light too quickly. We want to help one another to pause and embrace the night, for without the darkness, we never see the stars. I've asked Dan to come and read us a short quote from the poet Rilke.
Thanks for helping me pronounce that, Rilke. It's a quote from Maria Rilke. You, darkness, that I come from, I love you more than all the fires that fence in the world. For the fire makes a circle of light for everyone. And then no one outside learns of you. But the darkness pulls in everything, shapes and fire, animals and myself. How easily it gathers them, powers and people. And in this darkness, it is possible a great energy is moving near me. I have faith in nights.
So this is one of my favorite songs to do this time of year. I believe it's one of Norma's favorites. It's called Every December Sky by Beth Nielsen Chapman. Some of you may already know it. Every December sky must lose its faith in leaves and dream of the spring inside the trees. How heavy the empty heart is all that we all will come to lose. And heaven is not so far outside this womb of words. With every rose that blooms, my soul is assured. It's just like a song I know, yet still unheard. Every leaf of violets goes, melting in the arms of earth and snow. If I could hold you now, you'd enter like a sound. You'll be the wind that blows the answer to why. You'll be the spring-filled trees every December sky.
Isn't that a beautiful song? I feel it deep inside when I hear that song. Have you ever longed for the Sun King in your life? Have you ever longed for a Sun Queen in your life? For a person who would come along and hold you that way that the song describes. Really be there deeply for you. See, we're not just talking about some mythological figure here. We're talking about the longing in the human heart for other human beings who bring us love, and something that we are knowing that it has to exist somewhere in the world, and we're longing for that, longing for people to come along and be our Sun King or our Sun Queen. And sometimes we just have to stay with the longing for a while and dwell in the darkness and let it bring us its gifts. So I've asked Susanna to come and read now a poem for us that's about not shushing the winter away too quickly.
Let us not wish away the winter. It is a season in itself, not simply the way to spring. When trees rest, growing no leaves, gathering no light, they let in sky and trace themselves delicately against dawns and sunsets. The clarity and brilliance of the winter sky delights. The loom of fog softens edges, lulls the eyes and ears of the quiet, awakens by risk the unquiet. A low, dark sky can snow. Snow invites to contemplation and to sport. Winter is a table set with ice and starlight. Winter dark tends to warm light, fire and candle. Winter cold leans us to hugs and cuddles. Winter want to gifts and share.
This next song, O Little Town of Bethlehem, is dear to my heart because when I worked in the battered women's movement years ago, it was a particularly cold and hard winter, and we were struggling to find enough shelter and safe places to bring families together in safety. And a friend of mine wrote a song for me that he entitled, "O Bethlehem." And it was about Bethlehem being that kind of sanctuary, that kind of shelter place that we can provide for one another. And I wish I had that song. You know, it was just a friend who wrote it, and I don't have a copy of it, but it really spoke to that need for us to provide sanctuary for one another in the cold winters of our life, whatever they might be. So let's sing together, O Little Town of Bethlehem, with that in mind, that Bethlehem is a sanctuary that we look to all through the ages as a place in the midst of the darkness where the light was nurtured and held. O Little Town of Bethlehem.
So this is in the hymnals. It's number 273. And Roy right here has some extra hymnals in case you don't have them. Those of you in the back row, you probably don't have them. Again, it's 273. I was just remembering, I think my mom told me this is her favorite Christmas carol. It's very sweet. And mainly for the sake of time, we're just going to do the first 3 verses today. Do you feel like standing again? Stand if you want, sit if you must. We're not going to make you do anything. Sit or stand, whatever you want. But I invite you to sing together with me. Oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Above thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Yet in thy dark streets shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. For Christ is born of Mary and gathered all about. While mortals sleep, the angels keep their watch of wandering love. Oh, morning stars together proclaim the holy birth, and praises sing to God the King, and peace to men on earth. How silently the wondrous gift is given. So God imparts to human hearts the blessings of His heaven. No ear may hear His calling, but in this world of sin, where meek souls will receive Him still, the dear Christ enters in.
The dear Christ, the light enters in, where our hearts will receive Him still. Our hearts will receive. Our hearts will receive. Our hearts will receive. Open your hearts right now and let's enter in to a place of silence. Take some moments in our busy holiday schedule. I think that's why you're here, really, to punctuate these days with some silence and some connection where we can welcome Spirit to enter in, to be with us. So open. As you hear the sounds that I'm speaking to you, let them call you to be present in this moment, and you can begin to feel your breath centering you, and you can close your eyes if you like. Focus on your breathing. Each time you inhale, feel your life energy. How thankful we are for these breaths. The exhale, settling into yourself. Inhale, feeling your life energy. Exhale, breathing, witnessing yourself. Come fully present here with your wonderful self. Observe yourself breathing, inhaling, exhaling. In the company of many wonderful souls, we breathe. We listen to the sound of our breaths. Let yourself reside in the great quiet of your own being. Simply reside in the presence of yourself right now, quietly. Breathing. And as you hear the sound of my words, you can feel yourself moving into your deepest knowing. Notice how the sounds of these words carry you down and into the very bedrock of your being, of being itself, however you experience this. Here you can experience your connectedness to all that is. You are made of the stuff of all that is. You're made of the dust of the earth and the dust of the stars. Every molecule that composes you moves in concert with the whole solar system itself. Feel yourself as part of all that is. Experience your connectedness to the universe as you breathe. Life breathes as you breathe. In and out. Like breath. Magnetism both draws in and releases out. There's a magnetism in our lives towards love. Life is both receptive and expressive. All energy continually renews itself in a cycle of receiving and giving. Everything is constantly transforming in this flow of life, receiving and giving. As you receive right now, let it replenish you. As you give to others throughout this holiday season, may they be replenished. In this continuous natural cycle of life, you offer, you receive. As natural as breathing in and out, taking in, giving out. Feel the balance, this beautiful balance. Appreciate how we're nourished in our personhood by this balance of giving and receiving. In the very flesh of our body, we're nourished. In our heart, we're nourished. In our mind, we're nourished. In our spirit. Right now, acknowledge what you give. It's needed. What you give is received by others. Think about that. Think about that what you give is needed by others. Your family, your friends, they need you. Witness the continual exchange of energy in the giving that you do, and know that it's appreciated and needed. And right now, scan your life for imbalance. Look at relationships where you receive more than you give, or where you give more than you receive. Focus on these different relationships, one at a time right now for a moment, and just reflect. Giving, receiving, how it's taking place in your life. And now choose one relationship that you'd like to focus on and witness what happens between the two of you. Are you responding more than you're expressing? Or are you expressing more than you are responding? Are you being a good listener? Are you being listened to? Are you always doing what the other wants? Does this person ever want your input or take your suggestions? Where is the balance? Maybe between all of your relations it all balances out. But notice if there's any imbalance. Because you don't want any aspect of your being to get loaded up or drained. So just witness the giving and receiving and how it is. And notice what you need to do to bring about balance. Keep breathing. Life's all about balance. When there's more going out than coming in, or more coming in than going out, disease can set in. What's needed by us is to maintain a state of equilibrium, of equanimity in our relations. Is there anything that you need to express to anyone during the holidays? Imagine bringing balance about by your expression. Imagine your life moving in a state of perpetual balance. Where there's balance, life resides in a natural state of grace, a natural movement of your breath of grace. Relax into the knowing that you receive what you need and give what you offer. And as you relax into this trust, a great generosity of spirit becomes the driving current in your life. A great generosity of spirit. You know that to hold on and hoard only creates bloating and restricts. Feel the generosity of spirit. Recognize those places that you receive what you need and you give what is needed in a continual free flow of energy. Relax right now into the support that this energy creates. And right now imagine your whole community shifting into honoring this balance of exchange. Exchange with one another, with the earth, with other communities. Wow, what would this look like? Imagine this balance, giving and receiving, extending out into our world. Everyone's sensitive to honoring the balance of give and take. Everyone knowing that too much or too little creates unrest. Imagine with me, will you, a world where the spirit of generosity and not hoarding of power, but generosity is the current, the river flowing in all our relations between people, between the plants and animals, and between all the nations. A balance of exchange. A balance of exchange. Surely this is what the return of the light is about, that we have an opportunity to rebalance ourselves, to rebalance our communities, to rebalance our earth. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. Amen. You know what a litany is? A litany. It's something that people have done all through the centuries in churches. You may recognize it as a church word, but it's something where you get a chance to respond. And so there's a beautiful litany about this season, and it's called "The Light is Reborn." And so I'm going to say that first phrase, and then you're going to say, "The light is reborn." So I'm going to say these phrases, and they're sort of like a prayer that we're saying together. And you're praying with me that the light will be reborn in our lives, in our family lives, in our relationships, in our community, in our world at this season. So you got it? Your part is, the light is reborn. In even the greatest darkness, The light
is reborn.
In winter's cold, the light is reborn. From our deepest fears, the light is reborn. When we most despair, the light is reborn. When all seems lost, the light is reborn. When animals hide, the light is reborn. When the leaves are gone, the light is reborn. When the rivers are frozen, the light is reborn. When the ground is so hard, the light is reborn. When shadows are fleeing, the light is reborn. Warmth will come again, the light is reborn. Summer will be here once more, the light is reborn. Plants will grow again, the light is reborn. Animals will be seen once more, the light is reborn. The great greening will come again, the light is reborn. Life will continue forever. The light is reborn. So it's just words that we're saying, but we're here because we believe that. And because we're raising an energy. And we're going to be carrying it into all the darkest nights of this coming winter season. When people of old would gather to do this kind of a ceremony, they would do what's called raising a cone of power. And they would move around in a big circle, shaking rattles or shakers, drums beating, and they would gradually feel that life energy again. The light is reborn. Well, I'm not going to make you do that. I wanted to, but I feel obligated. So, I've been known to do things like that. Instead, though, we're going to sing another Christmas carol, and it's "O Holy Night, O Holy Night." It's one of my favorites. So put your energy into it as if you were shaking drums and rattles and dancing around. Put your energy into "O Holy Night."
You don't have the words to this one, but we'll just sing it one time through, and hopefully you'll remember it enough to sing it. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, hear the angel voices. On night divine, all night, when Christ was born. All night divine, all night divine. You sound lovely.
I'm glad we get a chance to sing the Christmas carols together, aren't you? Does it bring back memories for some of you? Yeah. Well, we're thinking back a long ways when we think back to the ancient Celts. They were actually pre-Christian, They were older than the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans, these ones who thought about the winter solstice and the sun's birthday, the day when the sun begins to come back after its winter journey away from the earth. As with many of the celebrations that are now considered Christian, Christmas was simply laid on top of the winter holiday of the sun's rebirth that people had been celebrating for thousands of years. It was in the year about 336 AD, so quite a long time after Jesus Christ's actual birth, that the church decided to put Christmas on December 25th. And they chose it. They were thinking about all different times of year, but they all voted on it, and they chose it because there's so much energy in humans at this time of year about the return of the sun and how important it is. At this time of year, we're reminded that all life needs sunlight and dark, growth and rest, summer and winter, that all beings are made of good and bad, strong and weak. We do remember the magic of balance, that we're here on planet Earth in a highly balanced bioorganism. And we have to admit at times that we might be the most mixed up of all creatures that are on this planet. So winter solstice and Christmas are times to remind us humans not to demonize all that we don't like and don't understand. It's a time when we humans are reminded that we've got to come back into these balances with all our relations and express generosity and compassion in a lavish way. Everything living on earth actually needs both light and dark, doesn't it, for growth and wholeness. There's that little science experiment about the plants that were put, one in the closet, one on the windowsill, and the one in the closet didn't make it, and the one that was put under electric light didn't make it. But the one that was in the windowsill, it needed the light, that kind of light. And we too need to expose ourselves to nature more. So during these holiday times, it's tempting to just get busy with our human activities, but I invite you to get in touch with the elementals of this season and take some time to go outside in the dark, even if it's cold or rainy, and spend not just a few minutes, but maybe a few hours out in the darkness, maybe even all night, and watch the sun return and see what that feels like, to be in the dark for just one night and watch the sun return. Our ancestors were really in touch with us, because it's maybe difficult for us to cast ourselves back in time, our modern selves who have so many luxuries, but for most of history, the Northern Hemisphere during the pre-urban, pre-Christian times was a very stormy zone. And these agricultural peoples were dependent on the sun for the growth of crops and for their survival through the deprivation and bitter cold of the winter. So just living in Northern European winter in those days was quite an accomplishment. During the long winter months, people were cut off from their normal outdoor occupations, and they were cut off from one another too. And they were on certain supplies of food and fuel. And so people were truly challenged in the dark times. It would only be natural to fear that yourself or your members of your family might not survive to see the spring, even if it did come. But there's something amazing about what they did with that. Their reaction. It's truly wonderful to know what these people did. In their strange circumstances during the winter solstice, with all that they had to really worry about, you might think that the Celts would have come up with a winter ritual of sadness and grief, or at least full of intercessory prayer to assuage their troubled hearts. Instead, these humanistic, earthy people developed Yule, a holiday time full of parties, feasting, drinking, and play acting. They splurged their food and their fuel supplies on these gatherings of friends and family. They used their spices And they spiced up their lives with song and laughter, and they lit bonfires and Yule logs and candles. And they even dragged big evergreen trees into their homes because that somehow assured them of the eternal greeniness that spring would indeed come back and that death was not the end of everything. So the highlight of Yule was something like Mardi Gras. It was called the Feast of Fools. And they had a tableau of informal plays where everything of importance was mocked and turned upside down. No subject was too sacred to be made fun of. No personage, no king, no personality, no pope, no, whatever they didn't have popes back then. No druid was too exalted to escape the unerring needle of the people's satire. From among the villagers, they would choose a fool king whose every command had to be obeyed, no matter how ridiculous or licentious. They sang silly, meaningless songs whose lyrics we still have today and deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. They drank homemade mead, and they overindulged in pies made from everything in their cupboards. Preserved meat, dried fruits, honey, nuts, spices. We still have the mincemeat pies of today. So to counter their fear of the dark and the cold, they ate, drank, and made merry. To face into the fear of death, they had a big party to make fun of death. How touching, how brave of them, how very human. I love them for it, don't you? And we all owe them a great debt of thanks. It's strange how, even though we have so many modern conveniences now, and we don't really have to be afraid of the dark in the way that they were, we so quickly go to click on the switch of light as we enter into our rooms. Perhaps what we really fear are the dark parts of ourselves and the dark unknown of the future. We've made darkness a villain, though. Even our language proclaims that sometimes, calling things dark or things that are dark, calling them evil. It's interesting as to how many of us who have the luxury of safe homes where we can stay cozy and warm as the winter's rain and snow rages outside might forget that there are many in our town, in our valley, in our world that don't have a safe place to lay their heads, who are calling out for a Bethlehem. I can relate to this because I've had a challenging time finding environmentally safe homes. I've been seeing various visions during this holiday season about us having a community sanctuary, an earth temple here in our town that we might take the leadership in helping to create. And lately I've been seeing that there will be a complex where there'll be space for people who don't have safe sanctuary for various reasons. That they'll be able to come out of the cold and dark into a sanctuary like the great temples in Europe used to be. If we do have that base covered in our lives and we have a safe home, let's be careful in these holidays not to judge others who don't, and not to take seriously, the luxury that we have, because to whom much is given, much is required. There's a story of a rich man, a leader in the city, who had a lot. He had a lot of luxury, and he came in the dark, to this young man and asked him a question. What authority do you have to revel with the fools and to heal the sinners? Who said you could do that? And this light being, Jesus, replied to Nicodemus, and he said, you can't understand me unless you're born again. You see, I am begotten of the light. Now, Christianity has taken this phrase, you've got to be born again, and I think really misunderstood it and misused it. Jesus was saying, you've got to be born again to understand where I'm coming from. The wealthy man said to him, what do you mean? I can't go into my mother's womb again, can I? And Jesus said, no, silly. But you can go into the dark womb of the mother. You can face your fears and be born again. Your perspective is going to have to shift for you to understand me. But when it does, you can do miracles too. And even greater ones than I do. Well, Starhawk, do you know who she is? She's a being of light who I knew in the Bay Area, and she wrote a book, Dreaming the Dark. And she says that, yes, we've got to dream. We've got to go into the dark places. We've got to go into the night. And we've got to dwell with it there for a while so that we might be born again and have a new light, a new perspective come to us. And this is what she says, where there is fear, there is power. Think about our world right now. Where there is fear, there is power. She says we need to dream the dark as a process and dream the dark as change, to create the dark in a new image. Because the dark created us. The dark is all that we are afraid of, all that we don't want to see. It's about misuses of power. It's about our anger, our sex, our grief, death, the unknown. The dark is many-textured. Maybe we need to change our language about it. Like we could call it the turning dark, which is change. Or the velvet dark, which is skin soft in the night. The stroke of flesh on flesh, the touch, the joy, the mortality. We could call it the birth-giving dark, where seeds are planted underground, where the seeds of our intent are planted here at the beginning of 2015 for something great to happen. We could call the womb dark, the dark womb where we must retreat to within ourselves. She says the question of the dark has become a journey. How do we find the dark within and transform it? Own it as our own power. Now, I just want you to be hearing this, like as we think about our lives and our world. We must dream it into a new image, the dark. Dream actions that will change the world into a place where no more horror stories happen, where there are no more victims. This is the kind of dreaming in the dark we have to do, where the dark is kind and charged with friendly power, the power of the unseen, the power that comes from within, the power that is the spark of every nerve and life and every breath. Don't you like those images of the dark? When I was in the battered women's movement, we did this thing called Take Back the Night Marches. Did any of you participate in those? Men and women. Hundreds of them came out. And we marched in the streets at the night to take back the night and take back the darkness. And this is what Starhawk is calling out to us to do. With these eyes of love, we can draw on the same playful spirit that animated the Celts celebrating Yule. We can call on a childlike spirit that's within us to befriend our fears. And we can be childlike with one another when somebody else's fears come up. We can be not too quick to judge them and tell them, you created that reality, get out of it. Not too new agey, you know? And just dwell with our fears a little bit when they come up in someone else. There's a wonderful bedtime book that's called There's a Nightmare in My Closet. And children's author Mercer Mayer tells of a young child who's afraid of the dark and is convinced that the nightmare lurks in the closet. Have any of you ever felt that way when you were little? The story doesn't make it all okay by saying there's nothing there to be afraid of. Don't be afraid. It doesn't do that. Instead, the nightmare comes out of the closet and turns out to be more frightened than the child is. And so the child has compassion for it and invites and comforts this ugly nightmare to get into bed with it and tucks it in tenderly and pulls the covers up to it. And at the end of the book, the little boy says, I suppose there's another nightmare in my closet, but my bed's only big enough for 3. How big are our beds? You know, who might we need to invite? I'm not saying invite into our beds in that way, just metaphorically. Who might we need to invite into our comfortable zones, like our community, our homes, our, churches, our cliques, Who might we need to invite in? Winter solstice is one of the 4 most powerful portals that we humans have honored for thousands of years. It's a very special time. And it's a time when we can actually do this work that we're talking about here, of an amazing work that changes the way things are and are perceived. Let's just talk about this for a minute, how we can pass through this portal, this very special magical time, in a powerful way. At a certain stage in shamanic drumming journeys, we drum into the underworld. And when you've done this enough times and you trust your ally and you're not afraid, something amazing happens. You experience a crack down the middle of your body. Sometimes you actually experience it as the power animal coming and splitting you down the middle. I won't ask you to raise your hands how many of you have experienced that. What happens next is that you get shocked and amazed because there's another body inside of your body, and it's called the light body. Barbara Marx Hubbard refers to this as the universal self, a light body, an ascended self that carries the code of the next stage of our evolution, is dwelling inside of us. This universal self may appear because it's needing to right now to evolve our humanity from ego to essence, she says. This universal self, she calls it universalis humanus, is about the emergence of our light bodies. And it's the deepest work that we all have to do on the planet right now. I've talked about it in many different moments, but we're needing to focus on it right now because all of the powers that be of the winter solstice and this particular winter solstice are converging to let us do this work right now. Humans of times of old, like at Newgrange in Ireland, have taken this task very, very seriously, much more than we do, and much more lightly too, like we're saying with the fool's parties, you know. But at the same time that they were doing the reveling, they were building these incredible temples. Have you ever been to Newgrange? The temple is huge in Ireland. It's older than the pyramids of Egypt. It was built 5,000 years ago. On the outside of it, they've restored it, and it's all white granite rock. It was built for the winter solstice. People worshipped in it for thousands of years, and today they just speculate at what went on in there. But it was built very carefully so that the winter solstice sun, the return of the Sun King, would shine down through that long, long corridor and touch into the very womb, the heart of the mother goddess represented by this giant womb-like structure. And in that moment, something happened. Barbara Marx Hubbard calls it the transubstantiation. It's a theological word, you know, like Catholic Church has used that for years. That when the communion takes place, something alchemical and magical happens, and the bread and the wine become the body of Christ, the light body. Well, Barbara Marx Hubbard says that we are being called to transubstantiation right now on planet Earth as we're trying to create, as we're putting all of our energies and focus into dreaming in the darkness towards this golden era, that we are being called to transubstantiate. When you think about that, what does it mean? Trans means change, and substantiate, something more substantial, to become something more substantial. These are transitional years that have been prophesied by the Mayans, the Incas, you know. So many prophecies have come to tell us that we are living in times in which there's a great work to do. We've got to practice. We've got to practice our change in perspectives as these beings who are privileged to be alive right now. And realize that sometimes the darkest moment is right before the great light emerges. That's what the winter solstice tells us. The darkest moment, the hardest things happen sometimes right before the greatest light is about to emerge. So now in this time, and with who we are, I'm just challenging us to concentrate instead of on what isn't working in your life or in the world, to put our attention into what is now possible and dwell into the possibilities, as Emily Dickinson said. This way we can help to attain what Barbara Marx Hubbard is talking about as the planetary awakening. She says a quantum jump in consciousness experienced by a critical mass of people globally in a moment of shared planetary consciousness in which everyone recognizes their connection, their common destiny, and love as members of a whole planetary body emerging together in its next stage of evolution. Doesn't that sound like Barbara Marx Hubbard? She always says these beautiful long sentences. She says, a quantum jump in consciousness experienced by a critical mass of people globally in a moment of shared planetary consciousness in which everyone recognizes their connection, their common destiny, and love as members of a whole planetary body emerging together in the next stage of evolution. That's what's happening. Dr. Ernest Holmes, New Thought minister, said, this love that is the truth of the universe is the givingness of itself. So the greatest gift of all, we hear said that God gave us the greatest gift of the Son of Light coming. The greatest gift of all is our giving of ourselves. That's what that's trying to tell us. Let us merrily give our gifts to the people around us this holiday season. Let us cross over some holdbacks inside of us that we have been letting be there for years. Let's speak up. Let's express where we haven't expressed. Let's listen more deeply where we haven't been listening. The universe gives back to us when we do this. Not in a measured amount, like you gave this much and this is what you will receive. No, that's not how it works. We get given back to so much more luxuriously and generously than we can even imagine. Just think about the sun. The sun. Returning, always returning. Shining, always shining. Shining on everyone equally. We rejoice at the return of the Sun King and of the great generosity that is the truth of the universe that we celebrate at this time of year. What if this were the only moment? What if this were the time on this planet that everything depended upon for the salvation of this planet? What if the world that you are creating right now is creating you back, even as you listen to it? You're in an I-thou relationship, whether you know it or not. What you give out comes back to you. So let's enlarge into this bigger picture, into this bigger adventure. During these winter solstice, Christmas holidays, let's use our wisdom. Let's use our crone-ness as men and women. Let's use our motherness. Let's use our maidenness and do these rituals of setting our intent for what we are dreaming into being. I would love for you over the next few days between now and Christmas to take out pen and paper and write not just a few sentences, but maybe paragraphs of what you are going to dream out of the great darkness into the light. What is it up to you to bring forth? You are a very privileged, special being to be here in Ashland, to be in the relative luxury that we have. We are given much. We have received much. And we have much, much that must flow out of us to our world. We are birthers of this new golden age of light. We do rejoice at the return of the Sun King, yes, one more time on planet Earth. We've got a big chance. We've got another big, big chance at this winter solstice. So let's sing our hearts out. Sing our joy as we sing this next song, Joy to the World. We're going to take the offering as we sing this song.
So this is number 280 in the hymnal. And, sometimes on the third verse, I'll to include the divine feminine, we might want to sing She Rules the World, or change his to her, so we have the divine masculine and divine feminine.
You might stay seated until the offering is all taken, and then we'll probably be through to the last verse, and then let's all stand up on the last verse.
Okay.
What page is it again?
280.
bless our offering. Still you can take it? It's great. Let's sing it one more time then, the last verse. There's a little ways to go yet with the offering. Still going, just a little bit. But if you have already given your offering, I'd love for you to move into a big circle around the edges of the room. We're going to do a closing ritual together.
So you'll recognize this as we get started.
I won't step on it.
No, I was just trying to move it back a little bit.
Squeezing in, that's the only thing.
Everybody, way back there, can you hear okay? In the middle of our circle, I want you to imagine our wonderful planet Earth, and that you are the angel beings, the beings of light, who you really are. But we're in our bodies right now, but imagine that you are bigger than this body, and that you are standing in the universe, looking down on our beautiful blue jewel of a planet, with all of the compassion and generosity of the universe, wishing wonderful things for us on planet Earth, wishing great Christmas gifts, wishing amazing accomplishments for humanity and for the healing and the harmonizing of our planet. Imagine this with me, if you will, and then some of you, would you shout out words of wishes that you have for our planet during this season, knowing that we are creating, as we are using these energies that we have brought forth together, that we are creating reality. What do you see for our planet Earth?
Oh.
Peace.
Shout them out. Erasing the lines that separate us. Anybody else?
Communion.
Unity. What? What else?
Oneness.
Oneness.
Abundance.
Sanctuary. Lots of connected circles.
Overflowing heart.
The energy to bring all of this to fruition on the new mountain.
Today, the energy is flowing to bring this to fruition.
Owning your greatness.
Peace and harmony.
Fun.
Humor.
Joy.
Connection.
Imagining greatness.
Friendship.
Laughter.
Bliss.
Recognizing the miracles.
Do you see how many people are in this room wishing these good things for the planet? And do you remember what Barbara Marx Hubbard was saying, that there are many, many beings all over the planet wishing these good things? And realizing that there are many, many beings, angel beings, off the planet wishing these good things? Surely this is going to come about, the golden age, the golden era. We are going to be living into it. It's a time of great rejoicing. And so we're going to seal in all these prayers and good wishes with a wonderful song to Papa Bell's canon melody. Here we go. holiday season. Thank you for coming and joining our energies together in this great ritual of peace. Blessed be. Have a wonderful holidays.
Come back, come back.
All the mingling. People mingling. People.